back at maybe some of the ways that teams have tried to attack your switches in the last two games, what have you seen on film in that respect, and how can you counter that?
Maybe don't switch as much. I think, better communication. A lot of it's poor communication. We screwed up some non-switches the other day when all they did was just dribble the ball from one side of the floor to the other. And, two guys think that one of them thinks there's a switch, one of them thinks there's not, and they have an advantage when they hadn't even done anything. So we certainly can tighten that up. For the most part, up until the last two games, our defense has been pretty good, but at the last two games it hasn't been at all.
West Virginia, I think they're 10-0 at home this year. It's always a tough place to play. What stands out about them from what you've seen so far?
Really sound defensively. Can play fast, but can also get deep into the shot block on both ends. Very, very good defensively. And then they let their shooters shoot it. So, and they got three guys that can, but two of them really can. And we'll shoot a lot of them. So we got to do a great job of defending the arc.
And I think Darren had 32 points in 32 minutes Tuesday. How's he feeling? And have you any idea of? Is he getting to where after games he's feeling okay, or is it still? How's he feeling?
You could have just asked that right off the bat.
The 32 minutes.
That's like you ask somebody what they get on a golf hole, and they tell you, well, I hit the first one off to the right, and then I punched out, and I hit it on the green, and I got up and down out of the trap. I didn't ask that. I just asked what'd you get on the hole.
Right.
He feels good. He's full speed. Yeah, he feels good.
Bill, what have you seen from Bryce in recent games, and kind of what you want to see as conference play goes along?
Play to his size. He's labored in the last couple of games. He actually got some numbers the other night, but they weren't great. He wasn't great. He's got to be able to guard better, especially on the perimeter, because regardless if you're switching or not, you're going to guard somebody on the perimeter if you're a four-man in college basketball these days. So he's got to get where he does that better.
Coach, in your experience, kind of game like the other night with the great comeback and the intense emotion and the energy, can that help a team create an identity?
I think so. I believe it can. There was a lot of things about the other night that weren't good. We didn't guard, we didn't rebound. Our body language stunk for a good portion of the game. We played at different energy levels individually throughout the whole game. We were spectators. We didn't create activity. There was a lot of things that we didn't do the other night. But at the end of the day, we should show ourselves that we can do it, because we did it under the most intense pressure-packed situations, because that's why the last 4 minutes of the game are the most important 4 minutes, because if you make a mistake, you can't recover. And even though we made a couple mistakes in the last 4 minutes, it still was about as well played as any stretch that we had at any point in time during the game when it counted the most. And so, I've heard people say TCU didn't do this or didn't do that. And to be honest with you, TCU didn't play poorly down the stretch. They made every shot. They were 3 for 3 in overtime from 3 on guarded threes, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, they or 3 for 3 at one time. I think they missed their last one, but they did a good job. I mean, they were 15 to 35 from 3. They averaged making 8 a game. They did a lot of good things. They didn't turn the ball over, and we still found a way. So to your point, hopefully it is a game in which, even though there was a lot of not good that took place, the good that did was should give us confidence moving forward that we can play at a pretty high level together.
You mentioned not liking the body language post game, and you mentioned it again here. As a coach, how do you talk to the players about that?
I
Do you
talk
leave
to-
it to the players to talk about themselves, or how do you address that?
Very vocally and individually as a group, the whole thing. Those are things that we talk about. If somebody can tell how you're playing based on your body language, God almighty, what is that? So you should be enthusiastic and play with a high energy regardless of what you're doing. And it's hard to do. People can say body language, that's easy. Is it easy to have a great day when you actually feel like crap? It's not the easiest thing to do, but it's what competitive teams know they have to do. And we're not quite to that point yet where we totally all buy into that.
When it comes to Melvin and Darren playing together on the floor at the same time and both producing and playing well, what do you envision that looking like when they finally are able to click together?
It's not Devontae and Frank. Both can't score like that. It's not Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. It's not. It's Melvin is a basketball player that he give his right arm for this team, and you guys all know it watching him play. He loves this team. It's him understanding how he can be aggressive and important and still play for himself. But if he plays for himself, what that actually does is it sets others up, because he's so darn fast that people have to adjust to that. And then you can play behind that. And it's the same thing with Darren. Now, we talked about this today. We got to utilize him, because if we utilize him, if you get him open, people are going to run to him. If people run to him, we can play 4-on-3 behind him. We haven't quite figured out how to do that yet. And we will, but we just haven't yet. Doesn't mean we won't. And you're also looking at situations that when Darren was out, everybody else got more shots. They're not going to get as many shots now. That's the way of the world. You can't add 15 or 17 shots and everybody else keeps shooting the same amount. That's how it works. And so I think everybody's fine with that. We don't have an issue with that. But how do you go about picking your spots and doing that stuff? And that's what we need. I mean, Darren doesn't need to score 30. He needs to be aggressive, and whatever the defense dictates is how many he scores. In the same way with the other guys. So we'll get there. We're not there yet, but I look across America and a lot of scoring. There's a lot of teams out there not there yet, and there's a lot of teams out there playing really well. And what's going to happen when March comes? There'll be some teams that are playing really well now that are struggling. There'll be teams that are struggling now and playing really well, and teams that are struggling now will still be struggling. Teams that are really good will still be good. You just don't know. So there's time, but we don't need to wait much longer to try to get this thing a little bit more cohesive and well-oiled, even though we may not ever get there. But I think the chances are pretty good we can.
What did the tape, you mentioned TCU played really well. What did the tape show on defense for you, and how is the defense compared to pre-Christmas?
Well, the last two games it hadn't been any good. So we've been exposed in a lot of ways. We've been exposed physically. We can talk about what we want to. We got our ass whipped physically in 2 games. Rebounding the ball, we got whipped. So there's a lot of things that we haven't done well that just doesn't translate to how do you guard a switch or how do you guard a slip. It's a mindset that if you can do those other things that are controllable all the time, you're naturally going to be better at the switches and the talking and things like that. And we just haven't been connected on the defensive end like we were prior to Christmas. So.
You mentioned El Marco was the player of the game. How did he look on film, and that steal he had, was that his biggest steal that you've seen lately?
Well, it's probably as big a defensive play as we've had this year, because if he doesn't make it, we don't have a chance. So I asked the guys today, I said, boy, Marco was really good against Tennessee. He had like 15 in the second half and was really good. I said, was he better against Tennessee or TCU? And the answer is, nobody cares. We won. You know, nobody cares. Nobody remembers that crap. The only people that actually remember it is maybe the individual and a parent. You know, your girlfriends don't even remember that. Nobody cares. And that's the thing that the guys have to understand. And Marco, I want him to know that you impacted winning today as much as you did against Tennessee. And you know, I think the guys understand that better, and he feels good about that.
Were there any other unsung plays like McDowell's 3 that you've
You know what?
pointed out
You know
to
what's
the team?
amazing to me is you guys ask the questions and include the answer in the actual question. So yeah, like McDowell's 3. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That was a big time shot. If he doesn't, you know, that's my point. If all the guys didn't do the good things that they did late, there may not have been another opportunity to do them. You know, that's why you know, if in basketball you want to play the lead. And then if you screw up, there's still time, you know, you can get it back. But when you're playing from behind all the time, or not all the time, but late in the game, one screw up, you know, a missed layup or a missed block out, that may be enough, that there's not enough time to recover. So, but there was the other night.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Oh, Gary's got his 4th in a row.
This is just something I'm wondering, on that weird play where El Marco threw it to Darren out of bounds, what happened then?
Well, on tape, it looked like, you know, Marco had the ball. It was like a second shot thrown in the backcourt or something like that. Marco had the ball, and he was throwing it to Darren, and Darren, right before he threw it to him, turns and said, "Get me," because he was starting to cramp. So he didn't even see the ball coming. So there was only one guy that was for the Jayhawks actually saw that ball coming, and he actually made a really good play on it and caught the ball with both hands. But he was standing out of bounds, so it didn't work out.
Gave it to the official.